Welcome to another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Today, guys, we're gonna do a guide on the Grave of Wrath for Season 4. It's definitely one of the most challenging dungeons that we have inside of the game. Actually, it's very hard to make it with a lot of rare and epic champions, just because the boss is actually really challenging. This video is brought to you by Dragonheir Silent Gods, so I just want to say a big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. And if you guys want to get involved, you can click on the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. This is actually the last sponsor video we have on Dragonheir Silent Gods, guys, and probably I'll take a bit of a break from posting content either till the endgame boss comes into Season 4, either till some news come out about the game, you know, maybe some champion rebalance or something like that. But I'll basically chill for a little bit, you know. Spend some time with the family, spend more time with the little one. Basically, guys, as mentioned, the Grave of Wrath, yeah? He is a pretty challenging boss. I've tried a couple of different teams where I tried to use Sigrid and I tried to use Poison heroes with Fredbart and stuff, but was really challenging to keep them alive for whatever reason. So I decided to swap them around a little bit and bring in Radiance instead, just to have a bit of a more healing, and basically just to use the cheat code and gain the shield from Garius. So we are going to use the Gatekeeper staff on Garius. He does have the Ancestral Protection set. We are going to change this Moonlight Mantle because we don't really need to have it on. The shield is gonna be good enough anyway, so I'm just gonna give him a different defense chest piece. Let's take that from Vikak. I tried using Vikak as well for the clans, for the heal reduction. That was fine, but the healing that was coming from him was not good. Initially, Vikak is amazing for the Grave of Wrath in the other seasons because the boss lands a lot of debuffs. So when he cleanses, we are getting a bit of a extra healing. This time around, I actually decided to go with Catherine, guys. So she will put block debuffs. And that's how we're gonna basically get rid of that heal reduction. The boss won't be able to place it on us after a cycle. Then we have Taitlin. He's going to apply defense down for us. So we are using the Witch's Remains. You can, of course, use, if you like, the Crown of the Unclean, if you don't have the Witch's Remains by any chance. But I would assume by Season 4, you will have at least a few legendary artifacts. Then we are going to use the Gatekeeper staff on Garius, as mentioned before. We are going to use Aladia, and I'm going to explain in a second why. It's very hard to replace her. Not impossible, but it's a bit hard to replace her. She will have the Spiritual Incense Burner just to give us more ultimate energy so we can keep up with the boss and be on an 18 seconds cycle. She has a mixture of sets, basically. This was the build that I used in the Ancient Battlefield or on the Chief Challenges. I can't really remember exactly what I used these builds. I wanted to get resistance and accuracy. And then, as the main damage dealer, we have Hegio. He's using the Revatrix Roots artifact, the one that you can get for free by playing the Feymander in Season 2. And he has a shade of that set. Probably you guys noticed the stats on the side. I'm not going to go over to read all of their stats and stuff. I do want to give you guys a couple of different examples of what other champions you can use, heroes, but we're going to do that after the run. So let me just quickly make sure that the gear is spot on. I'm going to sync this on Garius because we're going to be fine without using any mythical gear whatsoever. And in terms of skill timing, this is what I have on. We have 12 seconds on Aladia on an 18-second cycle. We have 22 on a Catherine on an 18-second cycle. Then the damage dealers, doesn't really matter. You just want to leave a 1 second gap in between them to ensure that they are going to basically go one after another and defense down is on, etc. And Garius has no timing. Now, basically, what changed on the Grave of Wrath this time around, guys, is pretty much everything, okay? So with the passive, when dealing damage, 20% of the damage dealt will be converted into corrosion, which means that you are going to take a lot of damage. There are no more poisons. When the enemy's corrosion reaches 50% of their max HP, they die immediately. That's why you need shields. When enemies inflicted with corrosion receive healing, corrosion equal to 30% of the excessive healing will be converted into HP. So the more healing you're getting, the more HP you're going to get. So that's why having a character like Garius is actually very important, or a character that can give you a massive heal instantly. Having Fredbart in here with the small healings that he's giving every single second is just not good enough, because you're not going to get anything converted into HP. So corrosion will eat you alive. At 6 seconds, AoE damage, and puts healing prohibition on all of your team. So basically, you have two different options. Either you bring in Catherine that can heal and put block debuffs. Either you bring in a different character like even a Vikak, or a different character that can cleanse and give you some healing. Very important to get that extra healing next to the cleanse. And all you gotta do is have slightly different timings. If you're bringing a cleanser instead of a block debuffs, you want to increase the cooldown of the cleanse with like 2-3 seconds, just to ensure that you're going to cleanse after the boss is using the skill, not before, like we're doing with block debuffs. Tia, for example, from the Necrosis element, is a very good replacement for Catherine, and you're still keeping up the 3-man elemental affinity team. Plus, that one actually puts healing prohibition 2 on the boss, which will actually be very, very beneficial. Then at 12 seconds, the boss will stun all of your champions, okay? If you have them in a group, if you separate them, he's still gonna go for the ones that are closer together, you know? So it's gonna be pretty hard to dodge it. You can dodge it by having resistance only on 2 characters and baiting the boss to use the ultimate skill only on those 2 characters. That's the reason why we have Aladia in here, for that control immunity. And the last skill, guys, devours the current target. You guys know the drill with this one. Nothing crazy changed in there. In terms of positioning, guys, I do need to keep my team as it is because of Catherine, right? She has this diamond shape on her ultimate skill. I need to get that debuff immunity and healing, preferably on the entire team. If I'm spreading them around, basically, I'm not going to be able to keep that debuff immunity. Now, you can potentially completely change the positioning based on what team you're using, okay? And like that, you don't have to worry about the stun. So you can definitely play it around in a completely different way. As an example, let's just imagine you have no melee damage dealers, right? So we can move him here as a range. We can move 2 characters at the back. And then Garius and this one, whoever it is, you don't need to use Aladia anymore because you're going to build resistance on those 2 characters. They will get hit by the boss's battle skill. And that will inflict the stun. Now, if you have resistance, those 2 characters won't get the stun that are right here. The other ones won't get hit by it, so you don't need Aladia to bring you the buff that will basically block the control. So let me just quickly put them back as I had them before, and let's bring in the food, and let's kick it. It's not the fastest team or anything like that, but it does get the job done. Now, we will get that healing prohibition early on, till we have Catherine going in around to basically put the block debuffs on all of the team. That's why we have her on a 22-second cycle. That healing prohibition is on for 30 seconds. Is extremely, extremely long. So we need her to put block debuffs right here, so the boss cannot actually increase that healing prohibition on our characters, you know? We're gaining the shield. The shield will be important as well to basically reduce some of the damage that we are taking in. Now, the good part about Garius is that he can dispel his own debuffs, guys. And that is absolutely massive because when he has that healing prohibition like that, it's not a problem. Once the boss drops the tank out of his greedy mouth, he's gonna get a healing prohibition. And block debuffs will already be on the rest of the characters, okay? That's why Garius is so much better. And as mentioned before, you want to have big heals that will basically convert that corrosion into HP, so you're getting rid of the corrosion. You see, we have no corrosion. Once the healing comes in, again, we're going to drop all of that corrosion. Now, if you use Frontbart, your corrosion will just increase, and you're just going to die because you have no more HP left. Just corrosion. And that is definitely going to be bad. Definitely going to be bad. 50%, if 50% of your HP will be corrosion, it's game over. Your champion's heroes will actually die, you know? So that's pretty crazy. But here we are. We do have, of course, Hedgia doing a lot of damage, which is very, very helpful. Caitlyn doesn't really do much. He's a good activator for a rally if you don't really have any crazier characters, you know? And to apply defense down with the multi-hits. But this is a pretty straightforward team. It gets the job done, as I mentioned, and it is pretty challenging to do this boss. If you don't have key characters, you're definitely going to struggle on this boss in Season 4 because he is really challenging. As mentioned, I've tried quite a few different teams before, and the whole thing is you gotta have some massive healing in there, you know? You gotta have some massive healing. Now, it's not a necessity to have the Gatekeeper staff. It does help, but because you are getting anyway massive heals from Garius, it's going to drop that corrosion from your team, and it will stay alive. I'm actually going to give it a go without having the Gatekeeper staff and see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. So we're going to remove that artifact from him, and we're going to give him something different. Something completely different. Okay, so we got the boss down in 2 minutes. Was it 2 minutes or 3? 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Actually, the best time for the team. Definitely not bad at all. If I'm quickly going to swap the artifact from Garius, because I'm very curious to see if we can just keep Witch's Remains. That's the first artifact that everybody purchased. And we have the Revatrix Roots, which is the free legendary artifact. So I'm gonna give Garius... What should I give him that I have leveled up? Because I have no more Essence of Creation whatsoever. Can I actually give him something that is gonna be a bit helpful on him? Or not really? Seems like no. I can give him this, okay? He's gonna get resistance. He's gonna be useless. I am dropping 60 skill haste. So I'm curious to see how that will actually affect us. So let's dive straight into it again. We do have the shield from Aladia though. So that at least will help us a little bit. But Garius' heal is still gonna be good. He's actually gonna be a bit better now because we have more defense on him. The only thing is, he's not gonna be as fast. So probably we lost a couple of seconds on the healing. So we got the debuff immunity. You see, Garius is getting the healing prohibition because he just got released from the boss's tummy. Get the healing. We still had a healing prohibition on the other characters, unfortunately. So we are waiting for this healing. We are waiting for this healing. There we go. Beautiful. Now we're gonna get Garius to give us a massive, massive healing, and we're gonna drop that corrosion. Just check it out. Come on, Garius. Get a job done. Ooh, that was a close call right there. That was a close call right there. So we are dropping some of the corrosion, but look how fast it's growing. Look how fast it's growing. That healing actually was helpful. I feel like I might need something with skill haste on Garius. I feel like I have almost no skill haste on the gear sets, you know? Come on, Garius. Don't let us down. Okay, beautiful. We dropped some of that corrosion. It's definitely a close call. It's definitely a close call without that freaking Gatekeeper staff. But either way, having Catherine with a decent-ish healing does help quite a bit too. And the problem is, we're not really going to have that shield for a long time. So applying decreased attack is not going to be as consistent as we might initially think. And that's mainly because of the fact that the shield gets broken super quick. The one that Ardrat places anyway. But we managed to basically reduce the corrosion levels on all of the characters to a minimum. Now they are getting super low because we don't have that decreased attack. Not having shield, we're not placing decreased attack like that. So that is definitely a problem for us in here. Without decreased attack, the boss hits pretty hard, you know. So we are hoping to get it right now. Decreased attack, beautiful. Okay, that probably saved us. That probably saved us. But the main thing that I kind of like wanted to point out is that we can in fact do it without the Gatekeeper staff. It is a bit harder. It's a bit risky. Look at that Garius. He was almost dead right there. But it seems like if you have these stats, not lower than what I have, you will be able to do it. And I will show you the Psychic in just a second. But this is definitely a close fight. The times we came close to that, my god. There were like, what, 3 or 4 times already? On at least one of the characters. Okay, we got the shield from Aladia. We're definitely going to put that decreased attack. Beautiful. So yeah, we are doing it, but 100% this will have a failure rate. It's not going to be 100% win rate because it's crazy how much RNG it was in here. 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Still a pretty good time. Now, if I want to change something around, guys, let's try to kind of like create another form of a budget-ish team, you know? So, if we put Garius right here, I would still suggest you to keep Garius. It's kind of like a must use, okay? It's kind of like a must use. But we can drop Hagio, we can drop Caitlyn, we can drop Caitlyn, and we can drop Aladia. Garius, let's just say he's the most important because he can cleanse himself, okay? That's why we're gonna have to use him. Now, we can bring in Ice Blast, okay? So we can go with Ice Blast. You're gonna get her from level 60 on the Feymander. She is a ranged character, which actually makes our life much easier. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, she is range. Then we're basically gonna look to bring in some support. Now, we can actually bring in, as an idea, we can bring in Tia. So as mentioned, Tia, she is from the Necrosis element. She is an epic character. And like this, we're gonna get the 3-man elemental affinity bonus for this team, Ice and Necrosis. Now, Tia will put block debuffs on all of the range units, okay? All of the range ones. So that means that we don't have to worry about the healing prohibition. We can time it in the exact same way we timed Catherine at 22 seconds on an 18-second cycle. And the good thing is she already has the skill on a very short cooldown. In fact, it's 16 seconds, so you're going to have to increase that. Plus, she brings healing prohibition, which will help you a lot too, because the boss will heal a little bit whenever he devours our character. But before, we had no issues whatsoever with that. Now, on top of it, we can actually bring in, preferably, we need to bring in a decreased attack character. And we want to bring in a ranged character that can survive and at the same time give him resistance and basically just survivability. So we're not looking for another damage dealer. I'm trying to see what other characters that don't have recharge speed penalty will apply decreased attack, preferably from this elemental affinity. I have a feeling that we might not find one from the Ice Necrosis one as a rare or epic, or maybe I'm just not remembering it correctly. So I know she does it, but she brings recharge speed penalty too, and we don't want that, you know, because that's gonna be on for 10 seconds. It's gonna make it much harder to kind of like calculate everything that we need in order to keep the skills on the same cooldown, you know. Gladros doesn't really bring decreased attack. It does bring more debuff immunity. He steals some of the attack from the boss, but it's not really the same thing, you know. So we are in need of a decreased attack character. He does bring recharge speed penalty as well, which you can stop. You can actually stop the recharge speed penalty and only use the battle skill on him. I see no reason why Guardress wouldn't work. Now, you will have to build him with good survivability and resistance to dodge the stun. That's the whole idea. He needs accuracy and resistance. Garius will need resistance as well on top of what he already has. So you definitely need the Gatekeeper staff. But the other characters won't need resistance because the stun, the boss will only attempt to put the stun on these two characters because that's how we are baiting the boss to use the ultimate skill. So this is another example of another team that you can make. And I'm convinced that it's going to work, to be honest with you guys, because it's pretty much following the exact same principles. You can use cleansers if you want to help you with the healing prohibition that the boss applies on your team. There are a few cleansers. There are not many cleansers in the game, to be honest with you guys, that will be helpful to get the job done. None really from this elemental affinity to help you with that. You can always bring in... Actually, there is a rare character that might work. The problem is that he's going to get healing prohibition, and he can cleanse it from himself too, actually. Feats. Gains healing and transfers all allies debuffs to the hero. Each successful transfer grants additional healing. And with the passive, if I'm not mistaken, he can remove one from himself too. Or maybe he cannot remove from himself any of them. I don't know why I remember that he was able to remove one debuff from himself. But if no, you do have a pretty decent character from the lightning element. And Ina can actually cleanse and give you a bit of healing. Now, the problem is you definitely need a Gatekeeper staff with her because she's not going to provide you such a good healing like Catherine was doing before. And the healing from Catherine was actually really, really important, you know? But that was all for this video. Let me know in the comments down below what teams are you guys running in the Grave of Wrath. And as mentioned, I won't be posting any videos for the next 1 week or so unless some news come out or something like that. But I will keep you guys posted. If you haven't joined my Discord just yet, make sure you guys join. It's in the description down below. Thanks again to Dragonheir for sponsoring the video. If you want to get involved, you can do so by clicking the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.